What if I told you that one of my stores was losing 2 hours of labor every single week, and the culprit was a box of Tagger tails? Pennies, literally pennies. And nobody noticed. Well, almost nobody. And when you regularly lose time in small, invisible chunks, it just looks like a normal busy day. So today I'm going to show you a dead simple system that thrift stores, factories, and even Walmart use to find those hidden time leaks and plug them for good. And you don't need a consultant, a big budget, or an MBA. When you do have a great team, every wasted minute costs money. If you've got a so-so team, those minutes are even more expensive. So when I made the jump from traditional retail to thrift, the first thing I noticed was how many people were working in the back, sorting, processing, tagging, compared to the few who were on the sales floor. The ratio was completely flipped. In traditional retail, the floor is where the action is. In thrift, the backroom is the factory. How efficiently that factory runs determines everything. You cannot win with an efficient backroom in thrift. So the question is, how do you do more with the resources you have? Not necessarily do more with less. That's sometimes BS. It's how do you use what you've got better? For me, the answer came from an unlikely place, a book about manufacturing. And really, those back rooms are little factories. The book is called 2-Second Lean by Paul Akers, and he's got a bunch of other books. I cannot recommend it enough. Pick it up, and it's not sponsored. It's just a great book. Now, don't let the words lean and Kaizen scare you off. My Japanese brother-in-law tells me that in Japan, Kaizen simply means to make better. That's something all of us are already trying to do every day. Paul's philosophy is deceptively simple. It comes down to one question. What bugs you? He asks everyone in his company that question all the time, and more details on that shortly. Now, the question is not what's in the budget, what's in the strategic plan, but what bugs you right now, today, where you are. He's tapping into something leaders sometimes forget. People closest to the work always see the problems most clearly. They generally even have solutions. The trouble is most managers never ask employees, and employees assume no one really wants to hear it. Paul owns a successful manufacturing company, and he runs it on this principle. Ask everyone to find a way to save just 2 seconds in their workflow each day. 2 seconds. Sounds ridiculous, but stay with me. So here's the real example from my own experience, those Tagger tails. Those little plastic fasteners that attach price tags to clothing. One of my stores had a supply manager, a sharp woman who took her job very seriously, ran the supply room like Fort Knox. Everything was locked up. Everything was inventory. And to her credit, the store's supply expenses were extremely low. And before what I'm about to describe, I would have held her up as a great example of expense control. But one day, a textile producer pulled me aside and mentioned something. She was only allowed to have a couple strips of Tagger tails at a time, not enough to last even an hour. So every time she ran out, which was all the time, she had to stop what she was doing, find the supply manager or a supervisor, go to the locked cage, get the supplies, walk back, and restart. Now we're talking about something worth pennies, and we were burning minutes every single time, and actually minutes for 2 people. That was crazy. Absolutely crazy. So I called a quick standing meeting. 5 minutes, everybody on their feet. It took about 30 seconds for everyone to agree that that system needed to change. Almost everyone. The supply manager wasn't thrilled, but she couldn't justify the net benefit of her process when labor time was factored in. Everybody agreed to a new system. 1 full box per workstation, restocked as needed. We did it right then, changed the process, done and done. All of a sudden, all the producers were talking about how much better they liked the new system. Well, go figure. So the result, we estimated we saved at least 2 hours a week from that one change. 2 hours every single week. And I think that's conservative. And here's the payoff. At the time, a textile producer did at least 1 rack an hour, and we valued the average rack at about $400 in sales. So 2 hours recaptured labor meant 2 more racks to the floor. That's $800 in sales, with nearly 0 added expense. So you'd have to lose a lot of Tagger tails to make up for $800. So another example. Floor staff were very frustrated because every housewares cart that came out had stuff all over the store. Dishes mixed with toys, decor mixed with cookware. To stock a single cart, they were walking the entire store. Waste hiding in plain sight. So the fix, after several discussions, we reorganized the production workspace so dishes and cookware went in the cart, toys and games in another, electronics together. You get the idea. It did take a little more space in the back, and it added a couple of extra steps for the producer placing items in the right cart. But the payoff? Stocking time dropped by 75%. That small trade-off in the back room was a massive gain on the floor every time a cart went out. Talk about dividends. So without adding payroll, we suddenly had more time for sorting, cleaning, rejecting, and generally keeping the floor nicer, and not to mention better customer service. And yeah, you're right. I duplicated that insight across the rest of my stores. So last one. Cashiers were losing their minds over plastic shopping bags. One of them said so, and more piled on. It turned out we were buying the cheapest bags we could possibly find, but they were a nightmare to pull apart, something the corporate supply buyer couldn't possibly know. Bags were also tearing if much weight was put in them, so of course they were double and even triple bagging. It was a small frustration that added a few seconds to each transaction, repeated hundreds of times a day. So we upgraded to a better bag. Not crazy expensive, but the result was faster checkouts, less waste, and the cashiers weren't starting every transaction annoyed. The net expense turned out to be just about a wash because fewer were used and wasted, and that made up for that extra expense. Something we often forget, cheaper isn't always cheaper. So remember that. Here's the framework, and it's really simple, and there's a link to a free PDF in the first pinned comment. So step 1, ask what bugs you. Start with yourself. Then ask your employees. Ask on one-on-ones, ask in team huddles, ask on the sales floor, ask in the office. Just turn it into a habit. Step 2, ask how would you fix it? Emphasis on the you. And this is the part that some managers skip. Don't jump in right away with your idea because you'll kill communication. Employees are often one conversation away from solving a problem that you might not even know you have. They just need permission. Step 3, act fast. There's a Walmart mantra that many of us lived by. A good decision today is better than a great decision tomorrow. And that's often attributed to General Patton and was often used by Tom Coughlin, then Walmart COO of Stores Division. So basically, try stuff, adjust, try again. Speed beats perfection. Step 4, keep the door open. When people see ideas implemented, they bring more ideas. That communication loop becomes self-reinforcing. It's a productivity wheel that keeps spinning, but only if you keep the door open. Now, you can't use every idea, but you can listen to, consider, and respond to them. And you'll be amazed at what happens over time. That's the foundation of Kaizen. Small improvements, lots of them, shared and respected at every level. I want to be clear about one thing. This does not work in a command and control environment where management, especially senior management, has all the answers and employees are just a head count. If your team doesn't feel safe speaking up, they won't. And you'll keep losing 2 hours a week to tagger tails and another few hours to stocking carts, and cashiers will put up with crappy supplies, and you'll never know. The foundation of this isn't so much a process, it's respect. Respect for the people doing their work, their time, their talents, and their ideas. 3 questions to take back to implement today. What bugs you at work? What bugs your team? And what are you doing about it this week? If this gave you something useful, hit like and subscribe. I post practical strategy for thrift retail operators every week right here at Thrift Retailer. And again, if you want a free PDF checklist to that framework, it's in the first linked comment. So grab it, share it with your team, and most importantly, let me know how it goes, good or bad. So I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.